right, everybody. I checked the time. I swear one day I'll remember to do it properly. Maybe today is that day. Today is that day. Okay. Handy dandy iPad, check. Recording everywhere, check. Here we go. You're listening to the Misfit Model Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Hannah Lawson. And today is kind of a continuation of like the last episode that we had. And there were some more things that I thought about that I wanted to talk about in terms of autonomy. Okay. Autonomy being connected to misogyny. Where a lot of these ideas come from. So in the last episode, I talked about, we as models are expected to just kind of be a blank slate and handle whatever happens to us on set, because I think a lot of people, again, have this really flawed idea that modeling is like America's Next Top Model, and if you're not willing to change your hair for the job or whatever, then you're not going to make it, and people and clients should be able to do whatever they want to you. And that is so not how it works. And I think maybe the reason the industry is like that is because of misogyny and not seeing women as like whole people with feelings and pasts and whatnot. So I wanted to talk about this. So where do I want to start here? Because I have this that I wrote down and I have this. Okay. What does it mean for women in this industry, and in any industry really, to lack autonomy? It's such a serious topic, but I think it's necessary to talk about, because let's talk about what is misogyny, what is sexism, right? I think a lot of people, maybe we'll say men or like non-women, I don't know. I'm just going to spitball here, really and truly, given that I'm a woman and I'm talking from my own lived experiences. Misogyny is not like, I'm not getting paid the same as a man for the same job. And misogyny to me is not, it is these things. It is these things. But for me, it's what's beyond the surface of how women are viewed or treated in society. It's beyond separate colored, drinking fountain kind of things. Racism, sexism, inequity, inequality is not always in your face. Sometimes it's very subtle. Sometimes it's what's said behind closed doors that you can't tell anybody. And sometimes it means quietly leaving something that you know isn't safe, as opposed to staying and risking that safety. And in terms of modeling, I consider the lack of autonomy that's bred in the image of the job or the industry as a kind of microaggression against women. Because what are you talking about, that you're going to do whatever you want to my hair or my body or whatever, and you can say whatever you want to say with no repercussion? You bet your bottom dollar I'm going to say something. And I haven't gotten this far because I kept my mouth shut. That's for damn sure. I hope you can tell. Episode 10, baby. 10 episodes of freaking doing this shit. So I think that comes with a sense of being owed something from women, and women don't owe you anything. just the same as Black people don't owe you teaching you how to not be racist, right? It all kind of goes with the same thing, that people expect another individual to teach them how to grow or how to be better. I think it's very common, and that's just not their job. It's not our job. Our job is to be us in whatever way we want to be. That's it. We are allowed to be whatever kind of woman we want to be. Take that in. Do you think you allow women to be whatever kind of woman they want to be in your life? And that includes everything. Do you allow women to be upset or angry or silly or loud or quiet and shy, tall, thin, thick, short? What do you let women be women? It's not like you have a lot of control necessarily, unless you're a bajillionaire over a lot of these things, And is it right to tell somebody to tone it down or to change who they are? No. As long as they're not hurting anybody, right? I mean, that's what causes every issue in these kinds of spheres, is you feel they owe you something in terms of an identity or a belief or a role that they're supposed to play. And that's just not, strictly speaking, it's just not kind, right? I wanted to give an example about misogyny in my life. And I think it's a good springboard for where I kind of want to take the conversation in terms of autonomy and misogyny and what misogyny really means for somebody like me, at least in my experience. So I blacksmithed for a while, for 2 years, and I loved it. I really loved it. There are quite few things on this planet that, call it what you will, whether you're going to call me an Aquarius for saying this or if you're going to call me a woman or whatever, but restless perhaps, but I part of the reason I like my job is because it's so different every day. And I am quite I need newness. I need new exploration. I think if I was born in the 1800s, 1700s, it probably would have been an explorer of some kind. You know what I mean? So and there are just so few things that I can really stick with for a very long period of time. And I don't mean like stick with modeling or stick with school. I mean like something I can do over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm not getting sick of it. Chess, not one of those things. I had to go to chess camp as a child, chess sleepaway camp. My mom was a chess teacher for the majority of my life. It was forced into my personhood. Hated it. Didn't like it. I thought it was boring. It's just the worst. Horrible game. I'm sorry. It's not. It's a great game. There's a lot of history and it's a beautiful thing. But Magic the Gathering, on the other hand, I really fucking took to that. Oh my God. Like, there's just so many possibilities, and I like making my own deck, and I like putting it together, and I like playing people, and every game is different. Like, everything I like has something like that built in, where yes, I'm modeling, every time I'm modeling, but the job's different every time, right? Or the day is different every time, or the set or the crew, etc. I love change. So I start working at this forge, and I didn't know if I was going to like it. I took a class, and not only did I like it, I loved it. It really, 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 I took naturally to it. And the people at the forge were very nice and seemed very inclusive. And then I took another class and I loved it some more. And they were like, you should do an apprenticeship with us. And the deal was that I would do social media for them in exchange for free forge time. And since I already knew, primarily what I was doing, obviously I still had a lot of help, but that was the deal. And I loved it. Like, I loved going there. And the community at this particular forge has, it's obviously a lot of men. And this is where I caution people, because it's not all men, sure. It's not all men. It really isn't all men. But I think that a lot of people will try to hide behind attributes of themselves that they think will make them, I'll put it this way. It's kind of analogous to like the nice guy act, right? Where the guy's like, I'm a nice guy, but like isn't. And you can say you're something over and over and over again. It doesn't change the fact that you might be a dick. So I think that's kind of the analogy I would put for the forge, is the people that I worked with were very much so like, oh, we're your friend. We're your ally. We're on your side. We understand the plight of women. Like, oh, isn't it so hard to be a woman? And you feel like you're in good company until you're not. And I caution people in general to be wary of people like this. They come in all shapes and sizes. You know, there's plenty of people out there that will say they're all bark and no bite. You know, they'll say a lot of things about, yeah, you know, I'm a good person and you know what I mean? But it's not just their actions, but like what those actions are that will say more. And so I'm working at this forge, and I come in and I notice that there's more apprentices that are women, young women, unpaid women, and they got younger and younger and younger. We're talking 15, 14. And it just felt odd to me, because it just felt odd. You know, you just have a feeling that something's off. And sure enough, after quite enough time, the facade started to slip. And one of the people there, who is married, told me they had a brewery next door and he was a little tipsy. And he said, Hannah, if I wasn't married, I would take you in a manly way. And I was like, I gotta quit. That's it. I have to go. I can't be here anymore. And there were complications with the apprenticeship situation. They were like, no, you were never an apprentice. It was just very complicated and weird. And I just felt like, okay, they want a changing of the guard. They want younger girls. Who knows what they wanted. But what I couldn't argue with was the feeling that I had inside me of not feeling safe, and then being told that explicitly, that you're going to take me in a manly way. That's disgusting. You have a wife. And this is misogyny. All of this is to say misogyny is not just like women getting beat up or women getting murdered. It is that. But it's also behind closed doors. That's what this man, who proudly exclaims on social media and like out to the world and to customers that he's like an ally and he's a good man and he votes Democrat, and like, you know what I mean? Like, he's positing himself. A lot of people do this, posit themselves as doing the actions that look like they're doing something, but they're not. They're not safe. And that's where I want to tell women, you need to trust those feelings inside you and trust your pattern recognition, that not all people are on your side, right? As much as they might say they are, or even do the things that people who are on your side are supposed to do, they'll turn around and say something like that. And the second you catch a whiff, you have to walk away. And that's the sad thing about misogyny, is I had to just walk away from something that I really love doing. And in New York City is very difficult to find. So if you know any forges, let me know. I'd love to work at one, but it's super fun to do. But same goes for work. If I'm modeling and somebody's telling me they hate my hair or they don't like this or whatever, it's those microaggressions that it's like, okay, so I can't be myself here. Like, you're going to criticize me. What? Sometimes it comes from women. You know what I mean? Like, you never know who it's going to come from. Not everyone's safe. And again, unsafe people come in all shapes and sizes, and safe people come in all shapes and sizes. But you have to trust that gut feeling in you that says, something's amiss. And that's the shitty thing about misogyny and about sexism is I'm 5'10". I can keep myself safe, but I don't, again, I don't want to be full of hubris here, but I mean, I trust myself pretty much to keep myself safe physically. It's not being able to do the things that I want to do that other people get to do. That sucks. That freaking sucks. Like, what safe spaces need to extend beyond the obvious into everywhere. What do you mean you're telling me that? And you just know that's the tip of the iceberg, because I would never, like, what? I would never say something. What the heck? Oh my God. Can you imagine? Let's take a step back. Take you in a manly way. My guy, are you okay? What the fuck? So crazy. People are so crazy. And it extends to all walks of life. You know what I mean? Like, it extends into dating. It extends into your job. It extends into friendships that you might make, like, not your long lasting ones that are Gucci, but like new friends that might just, some people are not always going to see you as a whole person. And that's not a model thing. That's a woman thing. That's what this is they see you for your hair and they say they don't like your hair or they don't like your nose or they're going to take you in a manly way or whatever it may be. And you're not a whole person to them. You're just like this object. You don't have feelings. You don't have memories. You don't have history or past or flaws. You don't make mistakes. You know what I mean? And that's misogyny. That's the root of all of this, is not seeing women for who they are, which is whole people with lives, interests, flaws, mistakes, goals, aspirations, fears, sadness, shame, all of it. And so if you walk into an interaction with a woman and you find yourself, women or not, women have some internalized misogyny as well. Woman or not, if you find yourself not having empathy for that person or just having room for them to be their whole person, something to check in on with yourself and put a stoplight up and be like, hey, we got to course correct here because we need to make this world safe for everybody. Making the world safe for everybody is the first step. And it's not hard. It's not hard to do that at all, to leave room for people being who they really are. Another example of misogyny that I saw recently, not too recently, but a certain celebrity who I don't think needs any more attention than they already have, whose name rhymes with Mames Marls, absolutely ripped apart a woman who asked for financial assistance from him in his DMs, who worked for Spirit Airlines and was losing her job. Now, let's preface this with thinking outside the box just a little bit, because I don't want to say devil's advocate, because I'm not devil's advocate, but I just thought about this on my own and was like, ooh, that's kind of smart. Wait, but as a celebrity who's publicly destroying this chick, saying, how dare you come into my DMs and ask me for money? You don't even follow me. First of all, ew, bitch. Ew. Misogyny. Okay. Just because he's James Charles, okay, doesn't make him not misogynistic, right? That's so mean. Like, what? You could have just ignored it. However, here's my other thought. He does have a huge platform, and him ripping her to shreds did get her the attention she needed, and she has been helped. So they did find her, and many celebrities and other people have helped her out. So maybe that was the tactic. I doubt it. I feel like I'm giving him way more credit than he needs, but it worked. It worked. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But I do think it's another example of misogyny. And it's like, you're not a girl's girl. You could have just plugged her gram and been like, hey, everybody, this person in my DMs needs some help. If you want to throw her a bone, here's her at. I don't know. Like, what? What would that really cost you? PR wise or whatever. Who gives a shit? Whereas I think a really good example of somebody that we should all be following and emulating is Laverne Cox. Now that is a girl's girl. She is such a girl's girl. I didn't follow her. I didn't like follow her career, and she reposted a speech that I made at the Brent Guidelines Board here in New York because she's a girl's girl, because the message was good, because what I said was impactful. And I'm going to make another one, by the way. Stay tuned. June 4th. I already wrote like half the speech. Okay. So get ready. I'm giving another one, and I'm going to film it. And well, I think they already film it, but like I'm going to clip it out and post it. But what a lovely siren. I hope you can't hear that. Anyway, Laverne Cox reposted that on her Instagram, and she said, be like Hannah Lawson. That didn't cost her anything, you know, like that. And God, again, what a girl's girl. What a girl's girl. Okay. And then we followed each other, and, you know, we're all peachy, but like, I wasn't supporting her career. Like, I wasn't following her. You know what I mean? Like, that shouldn't be a prerequisite for like, oh, you need to, celebrities, some of them are so weird. But again, it comes from misogyny. And Laverne Cox, as a woman of color, is, and a trans woman as well, like that, talk about, oh my God, a level I can't even comprehend, you know what I mean, of oppression. So this is where, again, like, people who make you safe come in all shapes and sizes, and people who make you feel unsafe come in all shapes and sizes, okay? And you just have to trust your feelings, and the world at large will, you know, imbue you with those feelings. I think there was something else I was going to say on that, but this is an interesting episode because I feel like we just talked about, you know, a lot of heaviness, I guess, but it's real, you know, it's real. Being a woman, being a model, it's not always easy, you know. These are the cards I was dealt. I'm going to use them to my advantage if I can. But I think the takeaway is if you're listening to the podcast and you have women in your life, whether you're a woman or not, it's very important to, and women, people of color, trans, gay, whatever it is, like, you have to make room for everyone to be themselves. That's it. That's the healing thing. I'm not saying you need to make room for people in your life that are mean or rude. I'm not saying make excuses, because again, I don't care who you are or where you come from or what you look like. If you're mean, go away. James Charles. And these people at the Forge, whatever, that I worked at, like, I'm not going to put them on blast, but like, I'm just using it as an example to cite that, like, again, these things come in all different packages, and it comes from insecurity. It really, really does. It comes from a very insecure place of, I have to take other people down in order to feel better about myself. And again, that's where you as an individual need to, again, you're going to get the cards you're dealt. You get the body you came in, you get the circumstances you're born into, and you have to make the most of it as much as you can. Because what's the one thing the world can't take from you is your joy. You're very entitled to that joy. No one can take your joy away from you. You can be happiness. Choosing happiness is an act of dissent that I want you to take on. That's so important. And, I think it's easy to compare yourself to others. And especially, again, they kind of touched on this in the Barbie movie, which is funny, but like this message coming from a model might not be as resonant, but I really implore you to understand that there is no comparison. Every dog has its day. Everyone has pros and cons. And you could be pretty and you could be ugly on the inside. Or you could be really smart and you could be very ugly. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's all objective anyways, or subjective, excuse me. But at the end of the day, take what you have, what gifts you have, because everybody has a gift, and build your confidence on that. Shit, as long as you're fairly able-bodied, you can play Magic the Gathering and get really good at it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things out there that you could do, and it starts with a philosophy of finding your joy. What brings you joy? Is it your friends? Is it Magic the Gathering? Is it forging knives? Is it painting? What is it? What brings you joy? That's who you are. That's the first step to autonomy. And being autonomous, knowing who Hannah Lawson is, knowing who I am, knowing who you are, okay? Knowing who I am, moving about the world, knowing who I am, sticking to my guns, being firm, believing in what I want to believe in, being kind, moving about life with confidence because I know what I like and I'm going to stick to that, and that's good. It's a good thing to pursue things that bring you joy and explore the world. Then you'll have that autonomy. And it only gets stronger with time. The less you worry about other people and the more you just do what brings you joy and explore. And who you are, no one can take that from you. No one can decide it's bad. No one can, you know what I mean? Like that's who you are. And you have to take that autonomy and choose happiness and move about the world in this way. That's it. It's people who are insecure, who don't have the ability for whatever reason, because they're not putting the work in. Do you think this comes easily? No. Do you think it's easy to be? It is easy to be yourself. It's really easy to be yourself. But to get there without shame or fear, that's the hard part. And that's what these people struggle with. People that make you feel unsafe do so because they're insecure and they don't know who they are. And I think the more you feel it from other people, the more you probably know who you are. And it makes them uncomfortable. It's going to happen. And that's okay, because those people need to leave your life. And more people who do know who they are want to be in your life. You'll attract what you are, and they attract what they are. That's life, baby. Goodness. What an episode. Episode 10. What's life about? Yeah. That's where confidence comes from, I think. That's how you can move about life, is knowing who you are, and don't worry about the people that don't know who they are. They might never know. Just keep on trucking. Keep on moving. Don't pay them any mind. Okay? What an episode. What an episode. A lot of realness. All right. Well, folks, that was episode 10. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week. All right. Bye.